If you make my word your home, you will indeed be my disciples. You will come to know the truth, and the truth will set you free. If Jesus' words are to be my home, I must learn to leave at the door past regrets and disappointments, envy, malice, greed, gluttony and lust and pride. All that I'm addicted to must be crucified and resurrected in their place, hope and joy and trust. Gifts that only He can give, He who came that we might live. Elizabeth and Zechariah. Elizabeth and Zechariah, righteous in the eyes of God, virtuous and blameless both, a blessing to the land they trod. But they had not been blessed with child. In spite of all their earnest prayers and incense offerings, Elizabeth was barren, still disgraced before her kin. Then Gabriel appeared. Next to the altar in the temple where Zechariah prayed, the angel said, "Fear not, I bring good news for you today. Your wife will bear a son for you, and you shall name him John. He will be for all a sign of hope, a light into the darkness, a cry heard in the wilderness, a reason to rejoice." The angel spoke no falsehood, though hard to be believed. Despite all Zechariah's doubts, Elizabeth conceived. Annunciation. The day the angel came to her, an ordinary day, or so it seemed to Mary as she began to pray. Quieting her mind and heart, she drew breath deep and long, and rested in the stillness of an oft-repeated psalm. "I shall serve the Lord with gladness." David's words the Virgin spoke, a sentiment, a promise, a simple pledge of troth. Then Gabriel appeared. His greeting was so strange. He called her favored one. He said the Lord was with her, and she would bear a son. "I am to be the mother of the Son of the Most High? How can this be? I know not man. Please help me understand. I know not how or why." The angel's words grew stranger still. "You will be overshadowed. The child will be called holy. The Son of God you are to bear will bear the sins of all mankind, will heal the sick, will cure the blind, will walk on water, calm the storm, will be for all a benediction, then be nailed upon a cross, a sign of contradiction." Had Gabriel said all of this, would Mary still have answered yes? He did not tell her everything. Visitation. In the wake of the angel's departure, alone the virgin child remained, collecting thoughts, releasing tears, recalling words, confronting fears. What will Joseph think of this? What will mother, father say? Must I dwell in shadow now, content to watch and wait and pray? And what of Elizabeth? In her 6th month, the angel said, a son for her will soon be born. Then let my eyes upon her swollen belly rest, and put my soul at peace, removed from scornful glances on familiar streets. And so to Judah Mary went. She entered Zechariah's house. For peace she journeyed to the hills. Once there, found joy instead. Elizabeth's face, her warm embrace, the Baptist's leap made Mary weep and cry aloud a song of praise. For God had looked upon the lowly, blessing her for all the ages. Holy is His name. Her soul now magnifying His, to Nazareth she returned, with hope and joy and childlike trust. The Virgin's heart now burned. The birth of John. They gathered round to share the joy of Zechariah's newborn boy, and both the priest and wife agreed his name was John, as was decreed. Elizabeth took John aside and counted fingers, toes. This is what mothers do, she thought. I did not think this was to be. I am now a mother. I hold the angel's promise in my arms for all to see. What will he be? Where will he go? Will he fulfill his destiny? Will he be great in the sight of the Lord? Will he bring me joy and gladness? Yes, he will be all of this when his voice cries out in the wilderness. In Bethlehem, when he was born, there was a child named Jesus, born to a virgin fair. Naked he came from her womb into night's bitter air, attended by an ox and ass and laid upon the straw. His purpose? To renew the earth, fulfill the ancient law. While angels sang and shepherds watched, and Mary wept and Joseph slept, and wise men journeyed from the east, King Herod schemed. For he had heard the murmurings of this new king, this child. The tears that fell from Mary's eyes were just the first to fall. A torrent soon would follow hers, as Herod's dark decree condemned to death all infant sons, whose blood was spilled to satisfy the murderous intent of kings. Did she know then what we know now? That after he had healed the sick, had made the blind man see, had driven demons from the lost, had set the captives free, that after he had lived a life of mercy and of love, that for all this, his blessedness, they nailed him to a tree? Is this why Mary cried that night in Bethlehem when he was born? Joseph. I am Joseph, Jacob's son, a carpenter by trade. Like another Joseph, I have had 2 dreams. The first, do not abandon Mary, take her as your wife. The second, flee to Egypt to save the newborn's life. Like Joseph long before me, I listened well, I prayed. Responding to the angel's voice, I made my choice. I sheltered Mary, took her hand, became a father to the boy, kept both safe in Egypt. Although I'm just a carpenter who works with his 2 hands, I raised the child the Lord had sent, the Son of God, the Son of Man. Presentation. Simeon and Anna knew. They recognized the child. For all their years of supplication, fasting, prayer, and adoration, here he was. Mary held him in her arms. Joseph held 2 turtle doves. Taking him from Mary's arms, Simeon prayed aloud, Master, let your servant go, for I see in this child the promise of salvation, a light for all Gentiles. The glory of all Israel I hold with my 2 hands. This little boy, this mother's joy, the new unblemished lamb. And looking into Mary's eyes, the prophet spoke again. Many will rise, and many will fall, and hearts will be revealed. And you yourself a sword shall pierce, when the child you hold is taken. His bones will not be broken, but his precious blood will be poured out, and his body will be given up for all of us to eat. He will give the last full measure of devotion to the Father. And with this act, this sacrifice, his work shall be complete. They traveled to Jerusalem. They traveled to Jerusalem, Joseph, Mary, and the boy, with every year a caravan to share Passover joy. In their nurses' arms the daughters, at their fathers' sides the sons, mothers singing Yahweh's praises underneath the desert sun. Returning home to Nazareth, Mary stopped to rest a while. Looking all around her, she did not see her child. "Where is my boy?" she thought. Surely Joseph knows, but he did not. For answers in his darkest hours, Joseph listened to his dreams, always revealing for the man what move to make, what path to take. But was there time to sleep and dream with Jesus lost to them? Jerusalem, Jerusalem. For 3 long days they searched for him through crowded streets and sleepless nights. They prayed for him. They feared for him. They asked 1,000 times, "Have you seen a little boy of 12? He is our son." And hearing no one answer yes, Mary was undone. Then Joseph, silent, took her arm and led her through the crowded street and to the temple ran, where together they would pray. But entering, they found the boy undisturbed and full of joy, listening to the wise and learned, asking questions never asked. Older but not wiser were the men who sat enthralled, captivated by the youth. His knowledge of the ancient texts displayed a wisdom and a depth before unheard. On seeing Jesus, Mary sighed. She said, "What have you done to us? Your father and I have searched for you for 3 long nights and days." And sitting with the wizened men, Jesus said to Mary, "I must be in my Father's house, was sent to do his will. For this I came, for this I live, for this I die, for this I give my flesh as food, my blood as drink." Now I have said too much, I think. She does not need to hear this now. I am just 12. It is not time. The time will come. The time will come.